Imagine a battery that doesn't catch fire, costs a third of the current price, and still lasts long enough to circle the globe more than 100 times. It sounds like science fiction, right? But that's exactly what's about to happen with the arrival of sodium-ion batteries. Tesla, which has always been at the forefront of innovation, may be preparing to take its boldest step since the launch of the first Model S. And if Elon Musk truly decides to go down this path, the impact could be as great as when the industry transitioned from fossil fuels to electricity. We're talking about a battery with a potential range of 3 million miles. That's right, 4.8 million kilometers. And the best part? Cheaper, safer, and more durable. Lithium, the darling of batteries for years, is starting to show signs of fatigue. High cost, safety risks, and durability limitations have given way to smarter solutions. Enter sodium, a chemical element that no one took very seriously until recently. Now, it emerges as a viable and powerful alternative to revolutionize electric vehicles. The possibility of replacing much of the lithium with sodium could not only change EV engineering, but also bring down the average price of electric cars to unprecedented levels, around $10,000 or even less. And there's more. Sodium's great advantage isn't just its cost-effectiveness, but also its stability. Experts claim it's 100 times safer than lithium in extreme conditions. Have you ever imagined an electric car that continues to run even in sub-zero temperatures without the risk of explosion or fire? This isn't just comfort, it's real safety, both for the driver and for those around them. And in a world where battery accidents have become a major news item, any technology that eliminates this risk is already halfway there. Tesla, by all accounts, doesn't intend to abandon lithium altogether. The idea is more strategic, to use sodium in cheaper models, urban vehicles, and stationary storage solutions. It's almost like having a battery tailored to every need. And let's face it, if implemented correctly, it paves the way for a truly people's Tesla, accessible to millions of people around the world. Something Elon Musk has always promised, but hasn't yet managed to deliver on a massive scale. The most impressive thing is the promised durability. While a standard lithium battery typically lasts 2,000 to 3,000 charge cycles, tests with the new sodium batteries indicate up to 10,000 cycles. In other words, a battery that can last up to 20 years without losing efficiency. This changes everything. The resale value of electric cars increases, the worry about battery replacement disappears, and the environmental impact of battery production and disposal is drastically reduced. And even with this monstrous performance, sodium batteries still manage to maintain similar range. Of course, energy density is still a challenge, but for urban and everyday use, where cars travel shorter distances, this new battery fulfills its role with flying colors. Not to mention that the industry isn't standing still. Improvements are already underway to ensure this technology reaches the same efficiency levels as lithium in the coming years. The great advantage of sodium-ion batteries, besides safety and durability, is their cost-effectiveness. And this isn't just any cost-effectiveness. We're talking about a revolution in production costs. Sodium, unlike lithium, is extremely abundant. It represents about 2.6% of the Earth's crust, is present in oceans and common minerals, and can be extracted much more easily and with less environmental impact. This means that, while lithium becomes an expensive and sought-after metal, sodium remains readily available and affordable, ready to power the next generation of electric cars. The difference begins with mining. Lithium requires expensive and time-consuming processes, often located in unstable regions or controlled by a few countries. Sodium, on the other hand, can be mined in various parts of the world at much lower costs. This global abundance drastically reduces the risk of geopolitical dependence, something that even the United States is now concerned about. In fact, the growing tension with China over the lithium battery supply chain could be completely avoided with the use of sodium. But it doesn't stop there. Sodium batteries also eliminate the use of expensive and polluting metals like nickel and cobalt. This is a huge advantage. First, because it eliminates the need to work with materials that generate significant social and environmental impacts, such as mining in conflict areas and the use of precarious labor. Second, because it makes production simpler, cleaner, and more financially viable. And when production becomes cheaper, the end consumer feels it in their pockets, and in a good way. Another interesting detail is the use of iron and manganese in the cathodes of sodium batteries. These two metals are widely available, recyclable, and pose no severe environmental risks. This makes sodium batteries not only a cost-effective solution, but also much more sustainable than current technologies. It's as if the future of electric vehicles is finally aligning innovation, accessibility, and environmental responsibility. The issue of sustainability, in fact, is expected to gain increasing importance in the coming years. As environmental regulations become stricter, automakers that adopt less environmentally harmful materials will come out ahead. Tesla, for example, has an image strongly linked to the idea of a green future. And nothing makes more sense than investing in a technology that reduces both costs and the ecological footprint. Furthermore, there's a strategic point that many people don't immediately realize: price stability. The lithium market is volatile, subject to intense fluctuations caused by global supply and demand. Sodium, on the other hand, being common and more easily obtained, tends to maintain stable pricing, which makes planning easier for automakers and consumers. This can be the difference between an electric car costing $25,000 or $10,000. While sodium already impresses with its affordability, plentifulness, and safety, it has another characteristic that's leaving many people speechless: its recharge speed. One of the biggest frustrations for electric car drivers remains the time wasted waiting for the battery to charge. Even Tesla's most modern models, like the Model 3 with LFP batteries, still take about 30 to 35 minutes to go from 20% to 80%. Now imagine a battery that does this in just 10 minutes, or even less. That's exactly what the new sodium-ion batteries are promising to deliver. CATL, Tesla's main battery partner, has already stated that its sodium cells can reach 80% charge in 10 to 20 minutes, depending on the model. And some more daring laboratory tests have yielded even more impressive results, charging in just a few seconds, thanks to cathodes with performance similar to supercapacitors. This sounds almost absurd, but these experiments are already documented in academic studies and are being taken seriously throughout the automotive industry. If this hits the market, it would be a game-changer. Imagine stopping quickly at a gas station for a coffee, and when you return, your car will be charged and ready to go another 400 or 500 kilometers. That's the experience these new batteries can provide. And it's not just convenience. It's a transformation in how people relate to their electric vehicles. It would eliminate the range anxiety that still scares many consumers who consider switching from combustion-powered to electric cars. Of course, we're still in the testing stage, but the speed at which these technologies are evolving is insane. 3 years ago, no one even considered charging a sodium battery so quickly. Today, laboratories in China, Europe, and even the United States are racing to understand how to harness this performance on a commercial scale. And since CATL already has contracts and infrastructure with Tesla, it's easy to imagine where this technology will migrate first. The most interesting thing is that sodium, by nature, allows for this type of performance. The structure of the ions, although larger than those of lithium, facilitates rapid movement within the electrode, especially when combined with new materials such as porous carbon or Prussian white. This all results in a battery that accepts accelerated recharging without suffering from overheating, degradation, or the risk of short-circuiting. It's a technical advancement, but also a huge practical change. Another point few people discuss is the impact this could have on charging infrastructure. Currently, Tesla's superchargers need to be robust and expensive to handle intense loads in a short period of time. But with optimized sodium batteries, these stations could perhaps be simplified, or even extended to unlikely locations, such as supermarket parking lots or small gas stations. This would further democratize access to fast charging. While recharge time is already an exciting advancement, the safety of these new sodium-ion batteries is perhaps the most underrated and most transformative aspect. It's almost inevitable to hear stories of electric cars catching fire, especially when it comes to accidents or failures in lithium batteries. While these cases are rare, the repercussions are enormous, and fear is widespread. Now, imagine a battery that simply won't catch fire, even when punctured, compressed, or exposed to extreme temperatures. This isn't speculation. It's been tested, documented, and proven. CATL conducted brutal experiments with its sodium batteries, piercing with nails, lateral compression, electric drilling, and even direct exposure to fire. The result? No explosions, no fires. The battery remained stable, even in situations that would completely destroy a lithium cell. This is revolutionary. And if this technology becomes standard, the risk of fire in electric cars may simply disappear, something no other current solution has been able to promise with such confidence. Another notable feature is thermal performance. Sodium batteries continue to operate efficiently, even at temperatures that would cause lithium batteries to fail. In laboratory tests, they maintained over 90% capacity at 20 seconds, essential for those living in cold regions where EVs still face real challenges. And the opposite is also true. They can withstand temperatures up to 60 degrees Celsius without thermal collapse. This makes them more reliable vehicles anywhere in the world. And because sodium is much less reactive than lithium, the risk of violent reactions during internal failures or mechanical damage is also virtually zero. This characteristic greatly reduces the chances of short circuits, toxic gas leaks, and overheating. It's no exaggeration to say that sodium batteries have the potential to become the safest standard ever developed for electric vehicles. And this could be a decisive argument in winning over those still wary of buying an EV. Reduced toxicity is also noteworthy. Unlike lithium batteries, which use metals like cobalt or nickel, which, when burned, release highly toxic gases, sodium batteries use much safer compounds. This means that even in a serious accident, the risk to occupants, firefighters, and the environment is significantly lower. In a time when safety has become a top priority across all sectors, this makes a huge difference. Now, consider the impacts on fleets and transportation companies. Electric buses, trucks, delivery vans, all these vehicles operate daily under harsh conditions. If equipped with sodium batteries, in addition to increased safety, they would gain unparalleled reliability, which could drive mass adoption in the corporate sector. And with fewer incidents, insurance costs could also fall. It's a domino effect that benefits everyone involved. Now, if there's one thing that can leave any electric car owner with a smile from ear to ear, it's battery life. Sodium-ion technology is delivering numbers that sound like something out of a science fiction script. Up to 10,000 charge cycles with stable performance. To put this in perspective, most current lithium batteries survive somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 cycles before starting to lose capacity. In other words, sodium batteries can outlast the car itself, literally. This represents somewhere around 8 million kilometers of useful range, which, let's face it, is more than anyone will ever drive. And more than that, this longevity completely changes the logic of the electric car market. Instead of worrying about replacing the battery every 5 or 8 years, the car owner can rest assured for up to 2 decades. And this changes everything: resale value, maintenance costs, consumer confidence, and even the environmental impact of the product's life cycle. Imagine someone buying a Tesla with a sodium battery today and selling it 10 years from now with the battery still in perfect condition. This car, even used, would have a very high market value, since the vehicle's most expensive and sensitive component would be virtually intact. And for those considering a fleet, this durability is pure gold. Fewer replacements, less electronic waste, fewer maintenance stops. Its efficiency raised to the nth degree. The secret behind this durability lies in the battery's internal design. CATL redesigned the anode materials with structures like Prussian white, optimizing ion movement and reducing wear during cycling. Furthermore, the use of porous carbon in the cathode helps better accommodate sodium ions, preventing internal pressure and premature degradation. The result is a battery that can take a beating, not in the physical sense, but in the wear and tear of continuous use. Interestingly, this durability also improves performance in adverse climates, something that typically accelerates deterioration in lithium batteries. In sodium batteries, the impact is minimal. In low-temperature tests, for example, they maintain over 90% capacity even at 20 degrees. This means that, in addition to lasting longer, these batteries remain reliable even in the worst conditions. Another notable point is that, even with 10,000 cycles, initial data indicates a low degradation rate. It's not just lasting longer, it's lasting well, without the loss of battery life that so frightens those accustomed to cell phones or laptops that slowly die. And because wear is slower, this battery can even be considered lifetime within the car's lifespan. Despite so many exciting advantages, sodium-ion batteries still face a significant technical hurdle: low energy density. And herein lies the dilemma. While they are cheap, durable, safe, and easy to produce, they still can't store the same amount of energy per kilogram as a good lithium-ion battery. Currently, sodium batteries reach somewhere between $140 and $160 watt, while lithium-ion batteries, especially high-end ones, can reach 250 watts. This difference directly impacts vehicle range and weight. For a city car which drives short, predictable routes, this might not be a big deal. But when you consider long trips, larger SUVs, or electric trucks, this limitation starts to weigh heavily, literally. With lower energy density, more space or more cells are needed to ensure the same range, which can increase the size, weight, and even the final cost of the project. And Tesla, which loves efficiency, knows that every gram counts. The good news is that this problem isn't insurmountable. CATL, always one step ahead, is already developing second-generation sodium batteries, aiming to reach 200 kWh. This would already put these batteries on a competitive level with some older lithium-ion versions, paving the way for their application in more types of vehicles. The idea is simple: make better use of materials, optimize internal design, and, most importantly, restructure ion behavior during charging and discharging. The engineering behind these improvements is fascinating. They're relying on materials like electronically modified Prussian white, which allows for more efficient movement of sodium ions without compromising the structure's integrity. Furthermore, the use of porosity-tuned carbon in the anode helps reduce wasted space and increases the cell's overall capacity. All this without relying on rare earth metals or overly complex structures. But even with this promising development, it's still not enough to completely replace lithium batteries in premium or long-range cars. And that's where Tesla's intelligence comes in. Instead of betting all its chips on a single solution, the company can choose to use different battery types for different models. Entry-level models with sodium batteries, high-performance vehicles with lithium batteries, and who knows, even hybrids of the two. This flexibility allows for a smooth and strategic transition. While the second-generation sodium engine matures, Tesla keeps its current lineup running efficiently. And when the new energy density becomes a reality, then there could be a more drastic shift in the portfolio. It's as if the game is being carefully orchestrated, and Tesla is just waiting for the right moment to turn the tables. Even with energy density still evolving, the industry isn't standing still. and certainly isn't limited to a single solution. CATL, already a leader in the battery market, has begun testing a bold strategy, creating hybrid batteries, combining sodium-ion cells with lithium-ion cells. The idea is simple and brilliant, combining the best of both worlds. On one hand, the safety, low cost, and durability of sodium. On the other, the superior energy density of lithium. And with the help of an intelligent management system, the car can choose which chemistry to use in each situation. This approach has caught the attention of the entire automotive industry. Instead of waiting for sodium to reach the ideal density, why not integrate it now in a complementary way? In a city car, for example, sodium cells could be used for short trips or in low temperatures, where their performance is superior. Lithium cells, on the other hand, would come into play in situations that require more power or range, such as longer trips or intense acceleration.